Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Currently listening to is called Simply American, and this version is arranged and performed by Rocket Parade. This version is currently not available to stream anywhere, as founder Benjamin Sproul has now released his own version of the song, Simply American, which is now available wherever you get your music. But never fear, Ben is currently working on a Bandcamp account that will allow him to preserve all of the Rocket Parade songs online for everybody to listen to. In the meantime, you can still check out the band's songs Since You're Around, Murder Street, On an Island, Stars, and Charmed Life wherever you get your music, and you can learn more about Benjamin Sproul and his upcoming shows on benjaminsproul.com. That's BenjaminSproul.com. He'll be performing in the Benjamin Sproul Duo at the Gold Hill Inn, 401 Main Street in Gold Hill on Sunday, August 18th, starting at 5:30 p.m. Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to this week's Miscellaneous Monday edition of the Mountaineer Podcast, where we cover various topics across the Peak to Peak area. This week, once again, my interview plans are still falling through. There are multiple interviews that I have ideas for that I haven't been able to get off the ground yet, but don't worry, those will hopefully be coming in the next couple of weeks. For now, though, there is one interview that I managed to get that saved this entire episode, so we're going to be playing that interview. I want to make it very, very clear. I am not the one who originally conducted this interview. My voice is going to be edited in place of the person who originally conducted this interview at their request. So, I just wanted to make that clear from the get-go, but I did want to thank that person for sending in the interview and allowing me to get this episode off the ground this week. We'll have a very special episode next week and the week after, if all goes well. But in the meantime, our guest this week, do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is Kelsey Simpkins, and I am Programs and Communications Coordinator at the Regional Air Quality Council, often known as the RAC, and I run its Simple Steps, Better Air program.
And can you talk to us a little bit about the Regional Air Quality Council?
The Regional Air Quality Council was established back in 1989 and is the lead air quality planning organization for Colorado's Front Range. And what that means is that the RAC works with state agencies and local governments and all sorts of groups in the area to create the plans that improve the air quality here in the Front Range. And then we also run programs that help directly benefit the Front Range community's air quality as well. And the reason this is all important is because there's this 9-county region here in the Front Range, thinking kind of from like Castle Rock up to Fort Collins and everything in between, that is out of compliance or in what we call non-attainment with the EPA's federal standards for ground level ozone. And ground level ozone is important because it's a tricky pollutant to talk about. So I'll explain that. Ground level ozone is something you can't see and you can't smell. And so it's sneaky, and in the summertime it forms when emissions from all sorts of gas-powered equipment like our cars and lawnmowers and oil and gas industry production combine in the heat and the sunlight that we love here in the Colorado summertime. And so then ground level ozone, while wonderful for us up high in the atmosphere as it protects us from the sun way up high. Down at ground level isn't good for us to breathe. And so the issue we're working on is trying to, on average, get those levels down to a point that's healthier for everyone in the Front Range. And it's a tricky problem because there's no one direct source that all these emissions are coming from. It comes from industry, it comes from us mowing our lawns, it comes from us driving our cars. And so we really have to work at this from a lot of different angles. And that's what the RAC really is tasked to do, is to help create plans for the state to work on this. And then we run these programs, like I mentioned, that help people understand what this issue is and what we can actually do about it.
Even though this is not the focus of this particular interview, can you just talk a little bit about the Clean Air Champions program?
Yeah, the Clean Air Champions program is a somewhat informal program we run every year to highlight members of our community, whether individuals or organizations that are doing great work to improve air quality in the Colorado Front Range. We often award that in the fall every year after the summer informal ozone season occurs, and we look forward to continuing that.
So let's touch on some of the things that you really wanted to talk about in this particular interview. Why does ground level ozone intensify in the summer?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. So ground level ozone is the Front Range's most pressing air quality problem because of a couple different things here. So to get a little sciencey on you, it forms when two different chemicals in the air combine. These are volatile organic compounds, sometimes known as VOCs, and nitrogen oxides, known as NOx. And these mostly come from fossil fuel emissions. And the trick is that there basically is a chemical reaction that goes on with these two chemicals in heat and sunlight. And so while we have sunny weather here a lot year round, it's in the summer when we have that heat that drives that chemical reaction. And so it really can't form enough to reach these higher unhealthy levels except June, July, August here in the Front Range.
Once again, sorry to have to do this in the middle of the interview, but because this is my only interview this week, I have no other choice. Here's an ad break.
Does talking with your teen ever feel like a game show with unpredictable twists and turns? Well, it doesn't have to be. We're pulling back the curtain and revealing winning tips for parents to take their relationship with their teen to the next level. Because a stronger bond not only keeps them healthy, but also adds more joy to your relationship. Ready to level up your parenting game? It's time to connect more. Head to forwardtogetherco.com for expert tips, videos, and guides. Build stronger connections starting today, because parenting should be a winning experience.
Welcome back. Now let's get back to the interview. And what other steps can people in the community take in order to help with the air quality and the ground level ozone?
Yeah, so the simple steps that everyone can take to reduce your emissions and help your community breathe easier are driving smarter, right? So carpooling and combining trips to just reduce the amount that you're driving and the emissions that you're contributing. If it's a shorter trip, walking, biking, taking a scooter, depending where you live, might be an option to complete trips that are shorter distances. We also have transit here in the area, various bus options, train options to maybe replace even just 2 car trips a week. So like say you were going to go into the office or something, just taking transit there and back one day a week or some other sort of trip you're taking could actually really add up if everyone was doing that. And then like you've mentioned, electrifying your lawn and garden equipment or upgrading your vehicle to something that's more electric can do a huge amount of good for air quality here in the Front Range. And currently there is about 30% discount on electric lawn and garden equipment at the state level. So if you're looking to get rid of your gas lawnmower, you're tired of filling that thing up, doing maintenance on it, or having to deal with gas, there's a really good incentive this year to get a really good deal on electric lawn and garden equipment for your home. And then one thing we also really encourage is not idling your car. So if you're parked in a parking lot, if you're picking up your child from school or another situation where you're obviously not in traffic, but you're parked somewhere and you're just idling the car for the air conditioning or whatnot, we really encourage people to not do that because idling is basically just straight up pollution with no benefit to be moving your car. So we really encourage people to turn the car off and on again in those situations. And then these days, a lot of people work remote or hybrid. And so we really encourage people to continue working from home in ways that work for them, or even just, I like to call it working locally and remotely because they have to work from home. But as long as you're skipping that longer commute, you are making a difference. So if you want to go down to the coffee shop or go work at a park or something, basically if you're reducing the number of miles you drove to go do that, that's still a really nice benefit benefit for reducing emissions.
Are there any other points in general that you wanted to touch on real quick?
Yeah, there's like a couple sound bites I just want you to have as options. So I explained a little bit about how it forms and why it only forms in the summer. The one thing I haven't mentioned is a little bit more why it matters for public health. So while ground level ozone is colorless and odorless, you can't see it or smell it, it is irritating to our throats and lungs, and it can exacerbate ailments such as asthma. And then the groups that are most impacted by this, besides people with respiratory issues that may be more easily aggravated, include children because their lungs are smaller. And so they're breathing the air not so much more often, but the exposure is higher due to the smaller surface area of their lungs. So this is really important for children that we help reduce these emissions and reduce the ozone in the atmosphere. And then there's obviously people who work outdoors who can't really reduce their exposure in the summer. And then also our region is full of really passionate outdoor athletes, right? So lots of people who love to run and go cycling and do things outdoors. And it's not fun to be going out and doing something really intense on a day with high ozone because it feels crappy, usually to breathe, and it can affect your performance and just a detrimental impact on your experience there. So both for the love of the outdoors and for the improvement of our public health generally, we really can come together and take these small steps for better air in the summer here in Colorado.
So it sounds like what you want to emphasize is that everybody who involves themselves in the effort to help with ground level ozone and air quality in the area helps make the change as a whole.
Absolutely. Yes. I think the two things I love about working on air quality here in the Front Range are that, one, people are really passionate about improved environmental conditions, so air quality benefiting what they love to do and also protecting each other. And two, there are all these co-benefits. So if we all do this, we all benefit, and it helps with climate change, and it helps with just so many different things. So there's really no downside to helping improve air quality.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
Yes. So one of the services that the Regional Air Quality Council and the Simple Steps Better Air program offer is that we send out ozone alerts. We send out ozone alerts in the summer in partnership with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, or CDPHE, as you might have heard it. And in the summer, there are ozone action day alerts that get forecasted for ground level ozone. And these typically are more in July and August, but they can occur any time between late May and early September. And so when the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment at the state issues one of these advisories, they send out emails, but we partner with them to also send emails as well as texts. So if you prefer to receive a text alert, or you would like to receive an email that's not just letting you know that there is an advisory, but maybe what is a really great thing you could do that day to help reduce the problem from getting worse, that's the kind of information that we send out. So you can go to our website at simplestepbetterair.org, or you can text 21,000, I think it is, 21000 to BetterAirCO, CO. All this information, again, is on our website to sign up for these email or text alerts and help understand the context of when ozone is worst and what you can do about it. And especially if you have a lung issue or you're really looking to protect your health, then you can get these really timely alerts to understand what is a good day to maybe take a walk instead of a run, get your exercise done in the morning when the ozone levels are lower versus later in the day when they've built up, or maybe just take a chill day and spend it inside in the afternoon to reduce your exposure.
Thank you so much to Kelsey for coming on board and joining us for this week's podcast. If you want to learn more about how you can help with ground level ozone and air quality in the area, text BetterAirCO to 21000 to sign up for ozone alerts and learn more about what you can do at simplestepsbetterair.org. I know I've been apologizing for some rather short episodes over the last couple of weeks, but honestly, this one might be the shortest one yet. I once again apologize for that, but hopefully 2 Mondays from now, I will have an extra long episode for you guys. I am very excited for that particular episode. But in the meantime, I will see you guys on Wednesday for another retrospective episode. If you want to be involved in the podcast in any way and you're in the Peak to Peak area or involved with the Peak to Peak area in some way, please email me at media@themountaineer.com and we'll set something up. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all Wednesday. The song that you are currently currently listening to is called Simply American, and this version was arranged and performed by Benjamin Sproul in the way that he originally intended. This song was originally performed by Rocket Parade, but he has decided to re-release the song in his original arrangement ideas, and he played all the instruments, sang all the parts, self-engineered the recording, and navigated all of the releasing, art, and tech sides of the process of this new single. He will be releasing more singles in the future, and perhaps his brother Jacob Sproul will continue helping him with the mixing and mastering of these singles. But for now, you can listen to this version of Simply American wherever you get your music, as well as other songs from his band Rocket Parade, Since You're Around, Murder Street, On an Island, Stars, and Charmed Life, wherever you get your music. Also be sure to learn more about where Benjamin Sproul is performing next at benjaminsproul.com. This includes with the Benjamin Sproul Duo at the Gold Hill Inn, 401 Main Street in Gold Hill on Sunday, August 18th at 5:30 p.m.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.